What's up, guys? Nathan here, also known as Lil Oki the Monk on US Proudmore. I'm back again with another key commentary. This is going to be a plus 19 Mists of Tirna Scithe, and I'm sorry this one is a little bit late, but this is coming out from the Fortified Bursting Volcanic week we just had, and of course it is no coincidence that we managed to time our first 19 on this week, because this is considered one of the best pushed weeks, at all. And we run double melee too, so Volcanic is even less of an affix than, it might be for a more ranged focused comp. So this is a great week for us, and we're trying to do our best to push as much as we can. As you can see here, we are knocking out these spike claws, and we're kind of taking our time here because for the first time ever, we decided to actually look at MDT and read the spell summary on how these guys work. And we didn't realize the jump hit in an AoE. So we were kind of just trying to spread out and have our melee, aka me and our warrior, hold cooldowns and not actually use cooldowns at all, and just let the mage sort of pop off here. And that ended up being a good idea because it meant we could actually save our cooldowns and use them on this pull, which is debatably one of the scarier pulls in the entire dungeon, because you get these double soul cleavers here, and they were nerfed, but they still put that fat debuff on you that makes you take additional damage. So it's good to sort of burst these guys down as fast as possible. I don't think we're killing them super fast, but they're dying slowly but surely. Fun little tip here about being a Windwalker. This is something that my tank actually showed me. I didn't know I could do this until he explained it to me, but you can actually use Ring of Peace and Para to skip the upcoming pack. And we do like to do that. And because of that, that means I typically don't actually get to use Ring of Peace on this pull. Which is a little bit sad because Ring of Peace would be a very, very nice tool for my tank, as he wants to avoid getting meleeed as much as possible. So we're just finishing us up here slowly but surely, knocking things out. Would not say this is like the best, most efficient gameplay here. I definitely sort of misplayed my cooldowns a little bit. Not actually sure what I did, but I do know that my damage would have been a little bit higher had I played my cooldowns right. This is looking like a post nerf Windwalker dungeon, when definitely is not post nerf. This is the pre nerf. Haha. Anyway, here's the trick I was talking about here. All you have to do, very easy, you just put a paralyze, you set up your ROP, you try to push it as far away as possible without accidentally pushing it on the wrong direction. That would be a very awkward error. And then you just walk on through. Nobody has to do a feign, nobody has to die. It's very simple. So we're going in here and we're going to group them all up here. I'm going to leg sweep everything so we can kind of keep them in the flame patch like I was talking about in my other side key. I definitely probably called my kick on star and then didn't do it 2 times in a row. So that's kind of yikes. This is definitely a bit of messy gameplay here from me. My warrior and my mage don't seem to be making any egregious errors, but I'm definitely seeing the mistakes that I'm making. And there goes my healer hitting those mobs with the blind. She's been getting very good about using, Hodge and blind and just the various CC that she has access to as a paladin. We don't usually think about that. Usually it's something that we just try to cover between our double melee, triple melee if you count the tank kick. But she's been noticing that, we are not necessarily perfect, and it's kind of nice when she's able to help out. So yeah, good to see that. And I've been doing too many keys this week. I'm watching this and I'm like, man, we're not killing even. They're going to bolster. I've just been doing way too many keys this week since the Valor update. And the sort of nerfs to Windwalker. I've just been sort of playing my Death Knight quite a bit. Not that I think there's really all too much wrong with Windwalker now. I'm still playing him for our higher keys, but I've been playing my Death Knight a lot, trying to get him geared up, and a lot of bolster keys this week. Okay, so we're going in, we're killing these guys, and this is pretty obvious, but I still think it's worth pointing out here. It is very important, especially on a fortified week, to make sure you don't kill these evenly. If you kill them perfectly evenly, that Furious Thrashing cast that you're seeing right now, and you guys are probably very familiar with, will go off at the exact same time because it goes off at a 50% life. That's how that cast works. So if you were to have those go off at the same time, it's a fortified week. Maybe there's something else going on that could increase their damage potentially. Maybe you're already low on life or mana from your healer. You will be in a very, very rough spot. So yeah, it's very important. Usually we like to mark one of them. I don't think we did this time, but I'm imagining just the fact that we played it right, we probably just communicated it verbally like, hey, I'm on the one on the right. Bramble Bust also, I know I'm not the best example here because I'm making the mistake over and over again, but that Bramble Bust ability, which is very annoying, you can actually avoid it when he's in the middle of the cast. Just move away from where you're standing, because see, during that cast, he's putting it where your body was at the start of that cast. So if you watch the cast, hold still, and then move as the cast is going off, you'll be in a good spot. So looks like Sev is combusting the Pride here, which is basically him sort of counting on us being able to sort of take our time, sort of slowly get the tree down, and then just do an insane burn here. And I don't think we're going into the tree phase with any cooldowns at all, which may be a no-no on Tyrannical, but since we can sort of tank the damage of the tree phase pretty effectively on Fortified, that's what's going on here. We're just sort of going to slowly work this tree down here. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're seeing an Avatar, no Sea Smash, no Combust, of course. He's just farming that Combust cooldown right now with his Fireball. I don't have Zuen up for a second, but the tree is still going down at a reasonable pace because, we have Prideful. So definitely an interesting decision you can choose to make or not make. I just really want to punch this guy. You see, I'm just getting frustrated. On Tyrannical, usually we'll just roll everything, just go right in with Prideful, all of our cooldowns, sometimes even Lust, maybe hold Combust for the burn phase, but we can just like try to man mode it super hard. But as you can see here, this is Fortified, so we're kind of just trying to all in one phase this guy if possible. I don't think we're going to one phase, but it's still going to be a very good burn phase for, not having a Boomy. Boomkins are, of course, the absolute best class at just bursting that thing down. Maybe tied with Fire Mage. Fire Mage also does a pretty good job. And I've been working on an Arcane Mage lately, and I can tell you from personal experience, Touch of the Magi also double dips pretty nicely on it. I'm not sure what we're choosing to do here right now. I feel like I was staying on Ingra, and I feel like my tank told me, okay, let's not do that. Let's actually get back on the tree. And so I kind of was having a little bit of weird decision making. Yeah, I don't actually know. I don't really know what everyone else is targeting. It looks like I might be one of the only people on the tree right now. I don't know. Okay, so we're coming back here. No big deal. We're going to get the tree down. I think it doesn't really matter that much. We could have focused the boss. He probably would have died just as fast, or we could have all focused the tree. He probably would have died a couple seconds faster. He only had like 500k life left, so it was a bit of a tricky decision. So we're going down here. See if we get a favorable maze. So what you're about to see here, which is me walking up to the side and using Crackling Jade Lightning to pull. You could also do this with Chi Burst. That's been patched. You actually can't do that anymore. So what you're seeing right here, this does not exist in live. What does exist, however, is from what I've heard, is that Death Knights and Warlocks and what's the last one? Hunters can actually micro their pets through the wall. Like it's like actually there's no collision for pets, and they can just pull it that way. That's what I've heard. I haven't personally seen it. I don't run with any of those classes. I mean, I personally play a Death Knight, but I play Frost, don't at me. So I don't always have a pet out. I usually only save my pet for sort of healing myself because his damage isn't exactly massive. So we're killing these guys, and it's actually kind of nice. We have cooldowns up for this Combust as well as Zuen, as well as Weapons of the Order, because we sort of have that awkwardly good burn phase, but like we didn't quite get a chance to use cooldowns twice on that fight. So we actually had cooldowns again for this pull, which is kind of nice. So these mobs right here, I think it's the Guardians that do it, but it's not so much the bucking that's dangerous with those mobs, but one of these mobs does the cast where he roots everybody around him, and that is a frustrating cast to deal with, let me tell you. And so here I'm like pointing out like, hey guys, we don't have to do the puzzle. Game bugged out and just showed us where everything is, so we just go in here. Easy. What we do prioritize, though, as much as the root cast is annoying, we do have ways to remove that. We have 2 freedoms and a Tiger's Lust. What we don't have a ton of ways to deal with is the Stinger, which is Anima Injection, and the, what's he called here? The Stalker, which I think he does Mist Veil Bite, I think is the name of it. But both of those are like very big, juicy, painful debuffs. And I can diffuse the Anima Injection if it goes on me, but of course that's not always going to be the case. There's really nothing you can do about the Mist Veil Bite. I don't even know if that's like a bleed effect that can be Kyrian potted, but it's a big ouchie. So usually we focus down the Stalker, and usually we focus down the Stinger first, followed closely by the Tender, and then sometimes we get on the Defenders too because that root thing I mentioned. But really the priority is just getting those like big boy debuffs out of here. And as you can see, I'm Tiger Lusting my tank. Probably not necessary, but, it helps him get out of like a annoying little spear flurry that much quicker. Okay, so moving on here. That pack kind of took a while there, but it's not a huge deal. Really, whether or not you time this key for us is like whether or not we fall apart on the first two pulls, combined with do we get a favorable maze. So I'm like full cooldowning this matriarch here. My mage is also combusting it. Yeah, he also combusted it. But that's not a big deal because this is fortified. I think this thing had like 1.1 million life. So that was definitely not the worst idea. I mean, all of our cooldowns have like almost rotated themselves through, and this guy's only in half life. Well, 30% life. So really not a bad idea to be cooldowning early and often. Only downside is we are not going to have combust or weapons for the Pride, but we are going to have Avatar, I think. And in this video, I hadn't quite started tracking Avatar, but I am now tracking Avatar on live. So not a bad cooldown to track. It doesn't hurt to track it because usually if the warrior has Avatar up, they probably also have Sea Smash up, and they probably also have Blade Storm up. So typically I just think Avatar alone you can track and get away with most of it. But for those of you not running with Arms Warriors, you might as well just track Recklessness from your Fury Warrior. I know I'm in a bit of a unique situation that I have to consider tracking Avatar. So we're just knocking this Pride down. We cooldowned it, no big deal. I'm communicating like, hey, I know this is starting to get a little scary, but I will have Touch of Death here, just 100k, just a little bit more. We have Altar up in our mage. He's getting healed up. Touch of Death, no big deal. Yeah. See if we can get some nice priority damage in there. Very easy. And I'm just standing here to like make sure the add-on properly fills. I don't actually think my version of the Weak War is working properly at all. But my healer has one that functions nicely. So, it doesn't hurt to sort of like go stand somewhere and let people know like which options are available on the maze. So you can see I'm focusing the Stinger there. Next, we're probably going to switch the Guardians. Now we're just killing even. Stalker, like I said, is usually a high priority thing, but because there were two, oh no, it's a Guardian and a Defender. I don't know. Okay, whatever. We killed the Stalker. I think what was actually happening in reality and what I was commenting on was two different planes of existence. Oopsie daisy. So we're going in here. My tank, I know he's saying I have cooldowns. I have cooldowns too. We're just going to pop off on these guys. Look at that, dude. He opened with a fat 100k DPS there. You pop wings. You throw your shield. You mash shield the right, just so you can get some big damn in there. So I'm going to get myself out of there. You can see Sykes got derooted by our healer. Sev actually procced Cauterize because Sid picked her favorite DPS to heal, and our warrior won. What can I say? It's a DPS eat DPS world out here. I'm not 100% sure what he died to there. He died to he procced the Cauterize during the really shitty root debuff, the one that's on us right now, that of course I'm able to just Tiger's List off myself, no big deal. But I don't know what happened after he procced Cauterize. Maybe he just got like buckinged or something. We have more buckings going off, and everything's dead. Yeah, poor Sev. Very unfortunate. And I guess I'm helping top people here because I don't have anything better to do. I really wish Vivify didn't cost like a ton of energy. It really does not feel like a fun button to press. But I mean, I guess they can't make it like literally like spammable. That would be a little bit OP. God forbid hybrid specs like Monk have good off healing. Gotta leave that for the paladins and the shamans and the druids, right? Man, I feel like I'm such a complainer. I don't usually bitch about my specs so much, but I've been just fucking riding that train, that hate train on the nerfs, even though I totally think they're, good bug fixes that needed to happen. Okay, I kicked the Nourish here. Well, 7 I kicked the Nourish together. We probably didn't call our kicks there. Or he wasn't sure if I was actually going to get it. Because sometimes, even if we call our kicks, if I'm like not near a target, people will just cover for me because I think my group knows that I have a tendency to not be the best at actually following through on what I call out. So here we get kind of an early Pride because we don't kill super even. I don't know what I was focusing, but I think I was probably part of the problem there. Okay, I popped all cooldowns here. You know what? I think this is something I've been trying to get better about, which is not playing for overalls like a little bitch and trying to play a little bit more for, actually completing the key on time. So that's probably why I popped cooldowns here. I recognize, it's a massive damage loss, but who fucking cares? You know what else is a damage loss? The key not being timed. So I pop my cooldowns, make sure this pride dies. Sev is like actually out damaging me without even having combust up. That is the power of fucking flame patch. Actually, an insanely powerful talent. Turns flame strike into a mass skill, from a mass skill into an insane skill. So these guys get to go in here. Looks like we probably got Avatar up. We probably got combust up, and we're just gonna pop this boss right here, man. Maybe not a pop, but still pretty damn quick. And not to beat a dead horse, but this is one of those times when I'm QQing because I can see right now. See how many stacks? I have 6 Mark of the Crane stacks. I would have absolutely 1. I would have 1 Mark of the Crane stack right now on live. This is like a time when like a bug, really I didn't really realize the difference until I'm like watching back here like, oh wait, I'm losing, on live. This would be a significant damage loss for every Dance of Chi proc. Okay, so we do kill that thing. Very nice. Sometimes it can be very frustrating when a Vulpin spawns while you're on top of a thing you need to kill. Because ideally, you need to kind of like run it out, right? But on these higher keys, those things have a little bit of life, right? So it's not something you want to have to do. You don't want to have to go and like start kiting there because the penalizing burst will stack up. And then that becomes ultimately a very big ouchie. And one thing that's a little bit frustrating, but we're starting to get better about playing around, is when the Vulpin spawns and there's a Consecrate down, we can't just instantly sheep it or instantly paralyze it. So that's something my tank, I've noticed he's been trying to get a lot better about, and I think he's been very successful at, which is making sure whenever the Vulpin comes out to make sure your Consecrate is moved pretty quickly. Obviously, he can't move it instantly. There's a cooldown associated with it. But he can move it eventually. And then here I think I go to the wrong one. Yeah, I definitely go to the wrong one. I thought there was like 3 flowers, 1 leaf, but really there was I think there was 3 full, 1 empty. So we're trying to focus this thing down here. I have my cooldowns rolling here. They're not up for the entire time, but we're still able to knock it out. Very close there, actually. Okay, so I think we go for the B-res here. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I think, yeah, there we go. Sid went engineering. This was actually kind of a while ago. I don't want to pretend like this is some recent occurrence, but she did go engineering, and it's proved pretty invaluable here because there are a lot of times when DPS needs to keep good uptime on the boss so we can actually kill it and not, run ourselves into a wall here, get overwhelmed. Nathan kick patty cake. Oh, maybe it's a good time to talk about that meme. My group likes to tell me to kick patty cake, because I have self-admitted that I get rather stressed out when I see the patty cake cast going off, and it's a big gray bar and I can't do nothing about it. So now every time anything ever happens for any reason, they just say Nathan kick patty cake. It's not the best meme, but it's still kind of funny. Where's it going in here? And we actually have TOD coming up, which is nice. I do like TOD to save it for prides most of the time, but this is kind of an exception. I almost get dodgeballed here. Because this is it's the same concept as using TOD for a pride, right? Like the longer those things stay up, the more penalizing burst damage we take. So I like to commit a TOD there if I actually have one up. You can knock those things out, you can kill them as quickly as possible, and then the damage is just cut down, and then you instantly get back to being able to kill the boss. Okay, so we're jumping off the side here. We have 11 minutes left, which is actually really not that bad. Not like the comfiest timer in the world, but like at this point, all we have to do is kill easy trash and then kill the boss. I have to kind of do a lot of easy trash. It looks like to me we got like a less than favorable maze layout. I could be wrong. I don't have the numbers memorized for the maze, but it feels like to me we're not getting the most favorable layout. So I just cool down this here. Now I know, outside of having a cooldown ready for the boss, or at least the prideful before the boss, I need to just make sure I'm using all my damage cooldowns on cooldown to maximize efficiency, because we have to get through, what is basically 45% or 35% in 10 minutes, which I guess doesn't sound that bad when you say it out loud. But still, very important to maximize just raw overall damage for this last portion of the dungeon. Really think about it. So we're just popping off a little bit here. We use our second SEF charge. Big damn judge, as a one legend might say. We let the stimulate resistance go off. I don't know that was on. It might have been on me, because if we're like watching it back here, you can see I never really even saw the cast bar. So that means I probably wasn't watching it. I go and I cleanse my tank because I look like it's getting a little bit low. And obviously my healer has other people to cleanse. So you can only cleanse so many people so often. I talked about this a little bit in my Windwalker basic utility guide, but it is important to be sort of cognizant of like when you can cleanse people and when you should be cleansing people. Obviously, you don't want to just cleanse every single time a poison or disease effect goes out. That's just a damage loss, and like doing more damage to kill the mobs before more of those debuffs go out is usually going to be a more efficient choice than spending energy and globals on cleansing people. But if you can save someone's life, or your healer starts communicating they like really need health and they're not going to be able to heal through something, then you really should go and just press the cleanse button. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn there, because that wasn't like some mind-blowing, insane use of detox. And the spell is called detox, by the way. Cleansing, is just the act of removing debuffs. That wasn't some mind-blowing thing that I did there, but it was definitely a small thing that may or may not have saved my tank's life. So definitely useful to think about, especially in these kinds of pulls when lots of debuffs go out from the what are they called? The little flying guys. The little flying guys are very annoying. These guys specifically, these Gorms here, they actually don't put any kind of debuff on you. It's just the flying guys. Here's actually another example of the Mark of the Crane bug working out in our favor. You can see here my damage is ridiculously high for not pressing real cooldowns. All I pressed was an SEF charge here, I think. No, I pressed something else. Either way, my damage is very high here because we have 6 Mark of the Crane stacks, when really I should only have like 3, maybe 4 if I'm playing well. So, and I used a lot of spinning crane kick there. That was probably being used like every second or third global. So we're focusing this guy down. I don't have any cooldowns. We're getting a little bit low here. I have diffuse if I need it. Sev cauterizes. Looks like Sid chooses to bubble, so she can focus on healing us up. It's getting a little dicey here. I will have touch of death. I'm probably telling them, hey, just 100k more. We can do it. We're stabilized. You know what? I bet if we were to look at the healing meters right now, I bet my tank is just spamming Word of Glories on us. We are our tank is actually switching to a Demon Hunter soon. For obvious reasons. Well, actually not so obvious reasons. It may seem like he just wants to be a meta slave and play the best tank, but it's actually more to sort of not class stack super hard. Because class stacking, especially with double paladins, is not something that he really wants to do, I think. And there's already like pretty regularly situations where forbearance has like gotten us in some trouble. But when you're the only paladin in the group, it's much easier to manage forbearance because you just only have to think about your spells. But there's definitely times when somebody gets like, lay on hands or bopped or something, and it just doesn't quite work out as planned. And I'm kind of being dumb here. I think I have like the little circle on me and I'm sort of running around and just putting the dot on everyone. Definitely a bit on the silly side. You want to be careful. This little circular dot that gets put on you can actually deal like a pretty hefty amount of damage. Pulling away here. It looks like the maze layout was more of an average luck of the draw. I thought it was kind of like bad, but it's actually just, about medium luck. Because we're gonna kill all these guys, and then we're gonna need, I think just 1 more pack should be fine. 2 more packs would be like bad luck. 0 more packs would be like perfect. But you can't really do anything about that. Especially since they nerfed monks being able to actually pull those mobs out, from the side there at the very start of the maze. That's definitely going to sort of impact how lucky, quote unquote, we can get, because we can't get that extra pull to start things off. Although in this time we pulled them through, but it didn't really matter because that was actually the direction we needed to go to follow Moonberry. So there was really just no huge gains to be had there outside of maybe some cooldown efficiency. Okay, so we're going in here. We're going to kill these gorgers. We're trying to kill them even. As you can see here, the next death of any mob will immediately lead to Prideful. I feel like I'm actually punching the Staghorn a little bit too much. I have a tendency, and this is just a very characteristic of people that don't use focus macros, of targeting the mob that I need to kick like way too much. That's like why it's a pretty good reason to use focus macros. And this is more of a like do as I say, not as I do, because I don't use them because I'm a shitter. But if you don't use them, then you know it's pretty easy to accidentally sort of like focus down and put too much damage on a target that doesn't need a lot of damage on it. So this is kind of interesting here. Usually, or not usually, but at least, you know, this week I really tried my best to sort of stop playing greedy. Okay, here I do choose to cool down it. Good. I was going to say, you know, I chose not to cool down it here, which is kind of uncharacteristic of the way I've been playing lately. But no, what I probably did here is I probably told them I'm going to cool down it, but I'm going to cool down it at 50% so I can roll my cooldowns into the boss. So we're going to the boss right now. We only have like, I think we had like 8 seconds on Weapons of the Order, which means we probably had like 5 seconds or like 4 seconds left on Zuen, which is not very efficient, but that's okay because we have Combust, we have Sea Smash. I am not the only damage dealer, is the moral of the story, so it's really not a big deal. We head into the boss here. We're just murdering him. We have 3.5 minutes to knock this guy out. This is actually very comfy. We still have to make sure we do mechanics right, and I'm moving a little bit too much here. In case you guys don't know, the way his sort of like I can predict your every movements, I don't know what the name of the ability is, but when he says I can predict your every movements, he puts those green swirlies on the ground kind of based on how much you've been moving, like where you've been. It's very rough, but basically the moral of the story here is you really don't want to just move incessantly. If you're like one of those PvPers that likes to sort of like stutter step nonstop in the middle of the boss, this is like a nightmare boss for you. And I'm not like a PvP or anything, but I still tend to stutter step a lot. You can see I kind of got myself locked in an unfortunate spot to Tiger's Lust my way around, but that's okay. We did eventually find our way back to the boss. It was a little bit unfortunate here. Things are starting to get a little bit messy. There's a lot of shit on the ground, due in no small part to, you know, how I'm choosing to move. So there it is. It goes off again. My uptime is starting to become pretty abysmal here. We're going to kick this. I think I'm going to run this out because I have the mind link. I get out of it. Very nice. I'm coming back in and we're just going to pop cooldowns here. I think I'm just going to press everything. We're just going to slam our head on the keyboard. We're going to literally press all of our fucking buttons here. We're going to press all of our offensives. We're going to press all of our defensives. We're going to touch a death, and he's dead. Not that was definitely a bit of a messier way to play the final boss, but I think at this point I was probably just a little nervous. I was like, okay, I want to get this boss done. This is our first 19. This is a big deal to me, but in the end, we still knocked it out, and you know, we still got a decent overall, even though we were focused on making sure we made the right decisions to time the key. That didn't really totally overall murder our damage. It just made sure we timed the key better. So not the cleanest key in the world, but it was still our first 19. Super happy with that. Super proud of my group. My tank, my co-DPS, my healer, they've all played super well this week. And hopefully, you know, next time I post a video, it's going to be our first 20 or a 19 of a harder key. And I can tell you that Spires 20 you just saw drop, that did not get timed. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.